We've gone from partisanship, which was kind of the situation when I got to Washington, which is okay. People, healthy political parties, fighting, jostling, coming together at key moments, though, is okay. To hyper-partisanship, that was maybe the 90s. Less coming together, less compromise, more attacking your opponents, not just as mistaken, but as kind of not wanting to do the right thing for the country. To polarization, which really began to take off, I think, maybe 15 years ago. And that's, I'd say, when, I'll put it this way, I used to give talks 15 years ago, and often there was me. I was a Republican then and a Democrat. I would give, we'd do our thing. And people would say, how badly broken is Washington? And one or the other of us would often say, we didn't really plan this, but this was our view, Washington's pretty broken. It's government shutdowns, screaming and yelling at each other, attacking your opponent's motives, not just his or her, the wisdom of his or her policies, but the country seems pretty healthy. We have partisanship in Washington, but a sort of functioning nation out there at the state and local and community level, in the non-governmental organizations, in the private sector, in the charitable sector, and so forth. And I think that's still somewhat the case, but the polarization, when you go from partisanship to polarization, the society begins to be polarized, not just the political class. And now we've gone from polarization to what the social scientists call affective polarization, which means the thing you care about most is defeating your opponents or even humiliating your opponents, owning the libs, as they say on the right these days, and I guess there's an equivalent maybe on the left, and that's polarization driven by dislike of your opponents, more even than like of your own. Huge number of Republicans don't like Trump much. Quite a lot of Democrats don't like whoever maybe the Democratic candidate in their state is, but they dislike the opponents, the other party, more. Now that's, again, they're entitled to do that, and maybe they're right to do that in many cases. And part of being a grown-up in politics is voting for a second or third best choice if the other choice is worse. But when the whole country becomes gripped by a kind of affective polarization, where you believe the worst about your opponents, you call them enemies, not opponents. You think of them as enemies. You think of them as more dangerous to the country than actual enemies who are brutally invading other countries abroad. That's a very hard situation to maintain a kind of healthy civic life in, or a healthy politics. And again, there's almost no empirical observers seriously think that we haven't gone. We're not there, but we've gone a lot in that direction. We've gone far, unfortunately, in that direction in the last 20 or 30 years. And finally, and I'll mention this, and this is my own view, and obviously not everyone in this room will or should agree with this, but my own view is that Donald Trump has, I don't want to make personally about Trump, but I will make it personally about Trump because he's a very important figure, Trump has made it worse in the sense that he ran for president as a polarizing figure. He won the nomination. That's happened before. He won the election, a little bit lucky with the Electoral College or whatever. We haven't had that many figures that polarizing become president, but okay, the system is set up to deal with that to some degree. The assumption has always been that even if you run a somewhat polarizing, I would say demagogic campaign, classifying whole groups of your fellow citizens as kind of the other and as they have to be crushed and I'm the only one who can save this country. But the campaign ends, you overcome that rhetoric, and you occasionally indulge in it. Every politician has a little bit of demagogue in him. Every president, even the best, probably have a little bit of demagogue in him. But honestly, President Trump didn't try to even overcome it as president. He doubled down on it. And maybe he made the right political choice from his point of view. Maybe that's just his character or his true beliefs. But of course, one thing does spark a reaction also. So then the opposition, of which I guess I'm a part, but we probably overstated a few things too, though I may think less so. And we have ended up after, what has it been, 2015? Summer of 2015, almost this month. So 8 years ago, he entered American politics. And I think he didn't create the situation, but he's sort of lit a spark to it or put a match to it or, really put it on jet fuel in a way that no one else really could. Social media is bad, different news channels on cable news are bad, and other politicians are bad, and other social forces are happening all around the country, obviously. But President of the United States is a pretty powerful job. And we have traditionally viewed it, unlike in a parliamentary system, that's the one person who represents the country. It's the head of state as well as the head of government. And again, whatever one thinks of all of our presidents, President Obama and President Clinton, President Bush, both President Bushes, President Reagan, they tried, I'd say most of the time as president, to remember that they were speaking for the whole country as president, to go out of their way to do so at different times, and not to simply exacerbate divisions. They really didn't try to govern for 51% of the country. They, partly for their own political reasons, they wanted to expand their coalition, but also they felt some sense, I'm president of the United States, I'm in the Oval Office, I've got at times to put partisanship aside and rise above it.